Queen Zelenara of the Zarthan Empire sat tall on her silver throne, her face calm but cold. She was known across the galaxy as a powerful leader, feared, respected, and always in control. Though she had no eyes, she saw everything through her mind. Her kind, the Zarthans, were a blind species, but they had developed their other senses to perfection today. She was doing something she had never done before. She was getting married, and not just to anyone, to a human, a species the Zarthans once called backward and soft. But after Earth survived 3 alien invasions, helped rescue 2 dying planets, and somehow managed to turn junk satellites into deep space listening posts, the galaxy had started to look at humans differently. Still, most Zarthans did not respect humans. Not really. That's why the royal court was whispering angrily now. Confused and offended by this strange political marriage, Zelenara ignored them. This was not about love. It was about peace. Tensions had been growing between the Zarthan Empire and the New Earth Federation. A marriage between the two might calm things down, or at least buy time. Her soon-to-be husband, a human named Ethan Cole, a linguist, a cultural scientist, not a soldier, not a politician. He was chosen because his DNA was a good match for diplomatic bonding, whatever that meant, and because he had studied Zarthan customs for years. Still, Zelenara expected very little. "He is late," one of her advisors whispered sharply. "This is a bad sign, my queen." But just then, the large metal doors opened, and Ethan Cole walked in. He looked odd. His formal robe was slightly uneven. His hair was a little messy, and he was smiling. Not nervously, but kindly, as if he wasn't walking into a hall full of angry aliens, but into a friend's home. Zelenara tilted her head. She could hear his heartbeat, steady, calm. He was not afraid. Interesting. Ethan stopped before her, bowed clumsily, and said, with a grin, "Sorry I'm late. A Zarthan kid outside got his hover toy stuck in a vent. I had to help." The room gasped. "Helped a child? During a royal ceremony?" Zelenara let out a slow breath. "You delayed the wedding to fix a toy?" Ethan scratched the back of his head. "Well, yeah, the kid was crying, and it wasn't hard. Just needed a twist and a wire reset." The queen was silent. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Casual, honest, and completely unafraid. She stood slowly. Let the bonding ceremony begin. The ceremony was ancient and strange. Zarthan traditions involved mental syncing, scent sharing, and energy echoes. Ethan struggled through most of it, especially when he accidentally inhaled a sacred spice and started sneezing loudly. The royal court was horrified. But Zelenara? She almost smiled. When the ceremony ended. A deep gong echoed through the hall. The marriage was now official. The crowd bowed. The queen and her new husband were escorted to a private chamber aboard the royal flagship, floating in orbit above Zarthan Prime. Their first night as husband and wife had begun. The royal suite was massive, full of soft lights, warm floors, and quiet humming sounds. It was designed for relaxation and bonding. Zelenara entered first, her movements smooth and silent. Ethan followed, looking around like a kid in a museum. "This is ... Zelenara turned to him. "This is where we begin the first night tradition." Ethan raised his eyebrows. "Oh, do I need to sign something, or is this one of those telepathic rituals again?" Zelenara frowned. "You truly have no idea what's expected, do you?" Ethan laughed. "Not really, but I'm good at figuring things out, especially if you explain them with small words." She blinked, confused, then realized he was joking. No one ever joked. "With her? Very well," she said, walking toward a smooth table where a teapot sat. "Let's begin." But before she could speak again, Ethan stepped forward. "Wait, would you like some tea first?" "I brought earth chamomile. It helps with nerves, unless you're allergic to flowers." Zelenara paused. No one ever asked her what she liked. They just assumed. They obeyed. Now here was this odd human offering tea and kindness. She sat down slowly. He poured the tea with gentle hands, careful not to spill. Then he began to describe it. "It smells like summer fields," he said softly, "like calm nights and quiet thoughts." On Earth, we drink it to relax. Zelenara leaned in. She couldn't see, but her nose picked up the scent, light, soft, unlike any plant she knew. She took a sip. It was warm and slightly sweet. This is pleasant, she admitted. Ethan smiled. Glad you like it. I have more flavors. Mint, ginger, even cinnamon. She tilted her head. Describe cinnamon. So he did. For the next hour he talked about smells and tastes, colors and memories. He told stories of Earth, of rainy cities, bright festivals, music played on streets. Then he did something no Zarthan had ever done. He began to describe color. Blue is like cool air and open sky. It makes you feel light. And red is the color of fire, not danger, but warmth, passion. Yellow is joy. Green is life. Zelenara listened, frozen. For all her years, no one had tried to describe the universe to her. Like this, she wasn't sure what she was feeling. Confusion? Curiosity? Wonder? And then Ethan said, I know you can't see. But if I had to show you the galaxy through my eyes, I'd use stories, words, sounds. You might not see stars, but I can tell you how they shine. She didn't answer for a long time. Finally, she spoke, voice quiet but firm. No one has ever said such things to me, not even my own people. Ethan shrugged. Guess they never thought you needed it. She leaned back. I thought humans were simple, weak, obsessed with emotion. We are, he said with a smile, and we're proud of it. That night, Queen Zelenara did not command. She did not lecture or plan strategy. She listened. And for the first time in her life, she stayed awake not because of duty or worry, but because something new had entered her world. Something she didn't expect, a human, and a feeling she didn't yet understand. The lights in the royal suite slowly dimmed, casting a soft glow across the smooth silver walls. The Zarthan energy stones hummed quietly, creating a peaceful, dreamlike sound. But Queen Zelenara was wide awake. She sat in silence, her hands folded, listening to the slow rhythm of Ethan's breathing. The human had fallen asleep on the soft floor mat, completely relaxed. He had refused the royal bed, saying, Too soft. I sleep better on the floor. Strange, every action he took confused her. He had shown no fear, no ambition. He didn't try to impress her, win her favor, or ask for power. In fact, he hadn't asked for anything at all, and yet she found herself thinking about him. His words from earlier kept echoing in her mind. You might not see stars, but I can tell you how they shine. No Zarthan had ever spoken to her like that. Even her own advisors feared to speak freely. Ethan, on the other hand, was completely open, honest. He had nothing to hide. Nara rose quietly from her seat and moved across the room without a sound. Her senses were sharp. She could feel every vibration in the floor, every change in air pressure. She stood near Ethan, curious. Was he pretending to sleep? Was this some trick? But no, his breathing was steady, natural. He was truly asleep. Strange. Human, she whispered. The next morning, Ethan woke up stretching and yawning like a lazy animal. He smiled at her, even though her face remained serious. Morning, he said cheerfully. I hope I didn't snore. I sometimes do when I dream about old Earth cartoons. What is a cartoon? She asked. He sat up, surprised. Oh, you're in for a treat. I'll show you later. She almost asked why he wanted to share such things, but instead she said, We will attend a council meeting today. You will sit beside me as my mate. Ethan raised his eyebrows. Sure, sounds fun. Should I bring anything? Silence would be best, she said flatly. He laughed. Can't promise that? The council hall of the Zarthan Empire was filled with high-ranking leaders, tall warriors, and powerful telepaths. They all stared when Zelenara entered with Ethan at her side. She could feel their discomfort. She stood tall and said, This is my bonded mate. He speaks for Earth. He speaks for me. Ethan gave a small wave. Hi. The silence was painful. One of the council leaders, General Kravok, stepped forward. His voice was deep and sharp. My queen, with respect. This human is not worthy to stand in this hall. Zelenara's voice was ice. He is my choice. Question me again, and you will not speak at all. Kravok stepped back quickly, but the message was clear. Many Zarthans did not accept this union after the meeting. Ethan leaned close. Wow, that was tense. Is it always like that? Zelenara nodded. They are proud, stubborn, they think humans are small. Ethan smiled. Then we'll just have to surprise them. Over the next few days, something unusual began to happen. Zelenara found herself looking forward to Ethan's presence. He made her laugh, quietly, but truly. He brought strange foods from Earth like peanut butter sandwiches and fruit gummies. He told stories of human history, both proud and painful. He even showed her how to listen to Earth music, and she felt emotions she could not name. One night, they sat on the viewing deck of the royal ship. Stars blinked across the dark sky, like tiny fires. Zelenara turned toward him. Why do humans share so much? She asked. Why do you tell stories, even to enemies? Ethan thought for a moment. Because that's how we survive. We don't have claws or telepathy or warships, like yours. But we have words, stories, feelings. That's how we connect. Zelenara was silent. Then she said, It is powerful. He smiled. It is. That's why some fear it. That same night, Zelenara woke suddenly. Something was wrong. She could feel it, a coldness in the air, a silence too deep. She rose from her bed and moved swiftly through the chamber. Ethan? She called. No answer. She focused her senses, and then she felt it, a strange presence. Movement near the private entrance. Without hesitation, she rushed forward and saw the shadow of a figure standing above Ethan, holding a Zarthan pulse. Blade. Ethan was still asleep. With a roar of fury, Zelenara leapt across the room. Knocking the attacker back with a shockwave of energy, the assassin flew into the wall, groaning. Zelenara struck fast, disabling the blade and locking the intruder in a gravity hold. Ethan woke with a start. What's going on? Stay down, she said coldly. You were almost killed. The assassin hissed. He weakens. He pollutes the Empire. You let a human sit on the throne. Zelenara stepped closer, her voice full of rage. And yet he sleeps without fear, while you hide in shadows like a coward. She turned to the guards now arriving. Take him. Quietly, no reports. As the guards dragged the assassin away, Ethan stood shakily. So that was real? Zelenara helped him sit. Yes, you were targeted, Ethan blinked. But I'm not important. You are now, she said. Later that night, Ethan sat on the bed, rubbing his hands. He looked shaken but not broken. Why would someone want me dead? He asked. Zelenara didn't answer right away. Then she said, Because you are changing things. He looked at her, surprised. Me? You confuse them, she said. You speak with emotion, you listen, you ask questions. That is dangerous to those who live only by control. He gave a half smile. Guess being nice is a threat now. Zelenara looked at him seriously. Yes, to some it is. He sighed, then looked up. Thank you, for saving my life. She nodded. You are my bonded mate. I protect what is mine, but deep inside she felt something more. She hadn't saved him because of duty. She had done it because she wanted to, because she cared for a human. And for the first time in her life, Queen Zelenara felt a new kind of fear, not of death, not of war, but of something she had never expected, love. For days after the attack, security across the royal ship doubled. Guards walked every hall, sensors scanned every breath, and no visitor could enter without 5 layers of permission. Queen Zelenara pretended all was normal, but inside, she was watching, waiting, thinking someone had tried to kill her husband, and it hadn't been just any rebel, it was a trained royal assassin. That meant someone close to her had ordered it, someone powerful, someone afraid, and Zelenara knew. Why? Ethan was changing her. Not just her mood or her thoughts, but something deeper. She had started to dream again. She had started to question. And worst of all, she had started to feel. That made the old leaders of the Empire very nervous. Ethan, however, continued to act like nothing had changed. He laughed. He joked. He made tea every morning and played soft earth music in their chamber. He even tried to teach Zelenara how to dance. It was terrible. And yet, she found herself smiling, even laughing, sometimes, when no one was looking, but something bothered her. Every night, when Ethan fell asleep, she would listen. She would feel the rhythm of his heartbeat, the pattern of his breath, and there was something unusual. Too perfect. Too still. It wasn't wrong. Just strange. So one night, while Ethan slept, she reached out with her mind. Deep, careful, quiet, and what she found shook her. Inside Ethan's body, something didn't match. The surface was human, skin, voice, heart. But beneath it, in the layers of energy where life connects to thought, something pulsed differently, something ancient, something hidden. She pulled back quickly, afraid she might wake him. He stirred, but didn't open his eyes. Zelenara sat in silence, shaken. Who or what was this man? The next day, she sent a secret message to the royal lab. Run a full scan on my bonded mate, quietly, report only to me. The scan happened during a routine medical checkup. Ethan didn't even notice. He chatted with the medic about coffee and spacefish. Hours later, the results came in. The lead scientist stood in front of her, pale and sweating. My queen, there is something you must see. Zelenara read the report. Her fingers tightened. Ethan's DNA was human to 99.7% match to Earth standard, but there were hidden sequences. Locked ones, like sleeping codes, not alien, but not human either, the scientist whispered. It's like something inside him was placed there, buried, long ago. What does it do? She asked. We don't know. It's inactive. But it's older than Earth's first cities. Older than some of our own ships. Zelenara stared at the report. Her heart was steady, but her mind raced. Who is this man I married? That night she watched Ethan more closely. He noticed, of course. He always noticed. Something wrong? He asked, handing her a cup of tea. She took it silently. You speak of stars like a poet, but you have never told me about your past. Not truly, he blinked. My past? There's not much to say. Grew up on Earth, studied languages, joined the Federation. And somehow ended up here? And your family? He paused. I don't really remember them. I was raised in a care facility after an explosion in my hometown. Records were lost. I only know what they told me. Zelenara studied him. And that doesn't bother you? He shrugged. I look forward, not backward. But there was something in his voice. A small crack in the calm. Zelenara stood, walked to him, reached out and placed her hand on his chest. You are hiding something, Ethan Cole. His smile faded. I don't know what I'm hiding. That's the truth. Later that night, when Ethan had gone to the observation deck, Zelenara entered the private data room and opened the ancient Zarthan memory net. A secret system older than most planets. She entered the strange DNA pattern into the system. It searched and searched, and then blinked. Green. Match found, but not in Zarthan records. In pre-contact archives. Before Zarthans even knew humans existed, the record was fragmented, but one word repeated. Sirelock. A myth. A being not born, but designed. Created by an unknown force to bridge species. A peacekeeper, a speaker of many tongues. A soul that would appear when the galaxy was on the edge of collapse. Zelenara's breath caught. Was this what Ethan truly was? A living myth? She didn't sleep that night. She stood by the window, watching the stars, thinking of what it meant. Was he sent here? Was their marriage an accident or destiny? And more importantly, should he know? The next day, she invited him to the royal garden, a rare place of living trees brought from many planets. Ethan smiled. Wow, real plants. I haven't seen this much green since I left Earth. They walked in silence for a while. Then she asked, if you had power, would you use it? He laughed. I can barely get my socks matched in the morning. I'm serious, she said. Ethan grew quiet. I don't want power. I want peace. I want people to stop shooting each other and start talking. She turned to him. What if you were made for that? Designed to bring peace? He frowned. What are you talking about? She reached into her robe and handed him a data chip. Your DNA carries ancient patterns. Something buried. Something meant to awaken. Ethan stared at the chip. What does that mean? I don't know, she said honestly. But I think You are more than human. He didn't speak for a long time, then he whispered, "That would explain the dreams." She looked at him sharply. "What dreams?" He hesitated. "I never told anyone. But ever since I was a kid, I dreamed of stars. Not just skies, real. Maps, places I'd never seen, names I somehow knew. Names?" She asked. He nodded. Like Zarthas, Elidrin, Coraxus, I didn't know what they meant. Thought they were just dreams. Zelenara stepped closer. "Those are ancient galactic centers. Not even Earth knows them," Ethan swallowed. "Then maybe I'm not just a linguist after all." The sky above the garden darkened as a storm cloud passed. Ethan stood still, holding the chip, and in that moment something inside him pulsed. He gasped, dropping the chip. His body glowed faintly, not bright, but enough for Zelenar to see. It faded quickly, but the message was clear. Something had awakened. And now, nothing would be the same. Ethan didn't sleep that night. After what happened in the garden, his mind was full of questions. His body had glowed, only for a second, but it was real. He had felt something deep inside him, like a voice calling from far away. He looked at the chip Queen Zelenara gave him. The data on it was ancient, possibly thousands of years old. It connected him to something bigger than he could understand, and that scared him. Across the room, Queen Zelenara stood quietly, watching him. She was not afraid, but she was alert, like a soldier waiting for a sign. "You still think I'm a threat?" Ethan asked softly. Zelenara shook her head. "No, but I think you are a mystery. And all mysteries can be dangerous. Even to themselves." Ethan gave a small, tired smile. "So what do we do now?" "You learn," she replied, "before others find out what you are." The next morning, the Queen ordered all public appearances canceled. No more council meetings. More press. No guests. Inside the royal ship, a small team of trusted scholars, scientists, and one telepath were brought in. All sworn to silence. Together, they began testing Ethan's abilities. They started simple: reaction time, memory, language. He passed everything like a normal human. But then the real tests began. One test measured how he reacted to ancient languages, ones even Zarthans could no longer read. Ethan, without any training, understood them. He could speak them, write them. Then came a test of energy response. He was placed inside a sealed room with 3 energy crystals from different parts of the galaxy. No human had ever touched them. Safely, one burned flesh, one froze the nervous system. One turned solid objects to dust. Ethan walked in. Nothing happened. In fact, the crystals glowed softly when he approached. Zelenara watched through the glass window. Her heart beat faster. "He is activating them," the scientist whispered. Ethan walked out of the room calmly. "Those things feel warm. Are they supposed to?" No one answered, because none of them understood what he was becoming. That night, Zelenara called her oldest advisor, General Tarvik. He had raised her like a second father. He entered quietly, stood tall, and spoke with respect. "My queen, you called?" She nodded. "I need your trust. You have it." She hesitated, then said, "Ethan is not just human. He carries something older, a force that may be tied to a legend." Tarvik frowned. "Sirelock?" She looked up sharply. "You know the word?" He nodded slowly. "My father told me stories. A being born to stop wars. A messenger of peace who appears when darkness rises. Most believe it is just myth. I no longer believe that," she said. He glowed. "Tarvik. He speaks languages no one taught him. He calms ancient power." Tarvik stayed quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "If others find out, they will try to control him or destroy him." Zelenara nodded. "That is why we must protect him." Meanwhile, far from the royal ship, in a dark part of Zarthan space, others were already talking. General Kravik stood inside a hidden chamber with a group of council members and military commanders. "The Queen hides something," Kravik said. "She has sealed herself off, cancelled her duties. All because of a human." "He is dangerous," one counselor hissed. "He is waking something old," said another. Kravik raised his hand. "Then we must strike before it wakes fully." "But He is bonded to the queen, someone argued. Kravik's eyes narrowed. Then we take them both. Back on the royal ship? Ethan was having a different kind of trouble. Dreams. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw strange images, planets torn by war, ships flying into black stars, people crying for help. And always a voice calling his name. Ethan, Ethan. He sat up in bed, covered in sweat. Zelenara entered the room quietly. Another dream? He nodded, breathing fast. They're getting clearer, like memories I never had. She came closer. Tell me. I see wars. I see people who look like me, but they aren't human. They call me by name. They say I failed them. But I don't understand. Zelenara sat beside him. Maybe you are remembering something old. Maybe this force inside you has awakened before. He looked at her. What if I don't want it? What if I just want to be me? She touched his hand. Then be you, but you cannot run from what you are. They sat in silence for a while, then Zelenara whispered, I never expected to feel this way. Ethan looked at her. Feel what? Worried, protective, afraid to lose someone, he smiled weakly. Welcome to being human. The next day, alarms went off. Zelenara rushed to the control room. Report, a guard spoke quickly. Incoming fleet, not ours. No identification codes. Weapons armed. How many ships? 30. Ethan entered behind her. Trouble? She nodded. Yes, and it has your name written all over it. As the enemy fleet approached, the royal guards prepared for war. Ships rose from the palace bay. Energy shields formed around the royal cruiser. Zelenara stood in her battle armor, tall and ready. Ethan stood beside her, wearing simple clothes, no weapon, no armor. You should hide, she said. He shook his head. Not this time. The enemy ships hailed. A face appeared on the screen. General Kravik. My queen, he said coldly. Step aside. Hand over the human? You betray your oath, she replied. I protect our people, he snapped. That thing beside you is not human. It is a weapon, one we will never control. Zelenara's eyes glowed. You will not touch him, Kravik sneered. Then you will burn with him. The call ended. The battle began quickly. Enemy ships fired plasma rounds and missiles. The royal ship shook under the blast. Zelenara gave orders. Return fire. Protect the capital. Do not retreat. Ethan stood in the center of the command room. Around him, chaos, and then he closed his eyes. Everyone around him slowed. As if time itself paused. He felt the strange voice again, deep inside. Let go. Remember who you are. And he did. A wave of white light exploded from his chest, soft, warm, but powerful, across the ship. Systems stopped failing. Shields repaired themselves. Weapons locked on targets by themselves. Soldiers stood taller, steadier, braver. On enemy ships, confusion spread. Their systems flickered. Engines slowed. Missiles froze midair and dropped into space like stones. Ethan opened his eyes. His pupils were glowing. He whispered one word. Peace. The enemy fleet stopped, all 30 ships. No one knew how. No one could explain it, but in that moment, a human or something more had stopped a war without firing a single shot. Queen Zelenara stared at him. Her voice shook. What? Are you? Ethan turned slowly, smiling sadly. I think I'm finally starting to remember. The battle was over. But the silence afterward felt heavier than war. 30 enemy ships floated powerless above the capital. Queen Zelenara's command room buzzed with quiet voices, confusion, and awe. No one understood what had happened, but all eyes turned to one person, Ethan Cole. He stood in the center of the room, his body still glowing faintly. His eyes were clear, full of calm, and something ancient. Queen Zelenara stepped closer to him, cautious but not afraid. Ethan, are you still you? He looked at her and smiled. I think I finally am. Later, inside a private chamber, Ethan sat with the queen and her most trusted advisors. General Tarvik stood behind Zelenara, hands folded. The scientist, the telepath, and 2 counselors sat in silence, listening. Ethan told them everything. The dreams I had, he said, they were memories. I was part of something long ago, not in body, but in spirit. There was a group, the Sirlocks, not born from parents, not made in labs, created by something older. Maybe the universe itself, Zelenara asked. To do what? To keep balance, Ethan answered. To stop destruction before it begins, to help people find peace before war consumes them. And you are one of them? Tarvik asked. Ethan nodded. I didn't know until now. I was hidden in human form, buried deep, waiting for the right moment. The telepath leaned forward. But why now? Ethan looked at Zelenara. Because of her, because something about this bond. This marriage woke me up, she made me feel. She made me choose to protect, not with fear, but with love. Zelenara's cheeks turned faintly purple, the Zarthan way of blushing, but peace never comes easily. Word of Ethan's power spread fast. Across the galaxy, leaders of other races grew afraid. Some called for his capture. Others wanted to worship him. A few wanted him erased. One message came from the human Federation itself. Return Ethan Cole to Earth for full testing and review. Deny this, and it will be considered a threat. Zelenara crushed the message disc in her hand. He stays with me. But Ethan wasn't sure. I need to make a choice, he told her. I didn't ask for this power, but now I have it. And I need to decide how to use it. Zelenara didn't stop him. Then choose. But know this, I chose you, not the legend, not the power. Just you? Ethan smiled sadly. Then that's the part I'll protect first. 3 days later, Ethan called a meeting. He invited representatives from over 30 species. Allies, enemies, and neutrals. The hall was full of tension. Cameras rolled, weapons were hidden. Fear was everywhere. Ethan walked to the center. No armor. No guards. Just his voice. He looked at them all and spoke with calm strength. You fear me. I understand that. You've seen what I can do. You've seen power that breaks your machines and stops your armies, but that's not what matters. He paused. Let them listen. I am not here to rule you. I'm not here to control you. I am not a god. I am not a weapon. I am a mirror, he said. You look at me and you see what you fear because I reflect what's inside you. Some turn their eyes away. I could destroy your fleets, but what would that prove? That you're right to be afraid? Or that you never tried to understand? Silence. Then. Ethan raised one hand. From his palm a soft light bloomed, not bright, but full of warmth. The Zarthan scientist whispered, healing energy. A wounded soldier nearby stood straight, her broken leg now whole. Ethan looked around. I choose peace? I choose to use what I have to protect those who cannot protect themselves. He turned to Queen Zelenara. And I choose her? Not because she is queen, but because she believed in me before I even believed in myself. It took time, but slowly. Something changed. The enemy ships left peacefully. The human Federation pulled back their demand. One by one, the galaxy stopped holding its breath. Peace had not come through war. It had come through one man who reminded them of what they could be. In the weeks that followed, Ethan continued his training. He studied history, language, galactic law, not as a weapon, but as a guide. He helped settle disputes, calmed trade, conflicts, and brought ancient enemies to the same table for the first time in centuries. He became known as the Starburn, but to Zelenara he was still just my husband. They laughed often now. She even learned to dance, badly, but with joy. She once told him, You saved me, Ethan. Before you I only ruled. Now I feel alive. And Ethan said, You woke me up, Zel. You didn't just make me remember. You made me human again. 1 night, as they stood on the royal balcony looking at the stars, Ethan spoke softly. There's one last thing I want to do. Zelenara looked at him. What is it? I want to find the others. She frowned. Others? Sirlocks. If I was hidden, maybe others were too. Scattered across the galaxy. Sleeping, waiting. I want to find them and wake them up. She took his hand. Then I'll go with you, he smiled. Even without your throne? I never needed a throne, she said. I just needed a reason to fight for something better. The next day, the royal ship launched a new journey. No armies. No war, just 2 souls. One born a queen, one born a mystery. Together they flew. across the stars, searching not just for answers, but for hope. And wherever they went, peace followed. Some say it was magic, some say it was fate, but the truth? It was one blind marriage, one strange bond, and one powerful discovery that changed the galaxy forever.